This is the video I have waited 4 years to make. All the previous 60 plus videos have danced around the subject of Chinese and Freemasonry without directly addressing it. The reason was that until I had published the 2 books that explain this hypothesis, I couldn't discuss it publicly. In 2016, I was initiated into a Chinese Taoist temple in Taiwan. I immediately recognized it as the same as the first degree of Freemasonry. But it was intriguing. How could that be? And if there was a connection, which came first, the Chinese ritual or Freemasonry's rituals? For 3 years, I researched these questions, and the result was the 2 books, Freemasonry, Initiation by Light, and Freemasonry, Royal Arch. The first book gives all the Chinese references in the first degree, such as both rituals have only 3 officers, senior officers, and the senior Taoist officer is called the Light Transmitting Master. The second title sounds misleading, but I also looked into whether the Royal Arch degree was really the 4th and last degree of Blue Lodge Masonry or not. Starting around 1680 for about 150 years, Chinese things such as chinaware, wallpaper, silk, tea, Chinese gardens and even architecture were very popular in Europe. It may have started with a visit by a Chinese mandarin called Shen Fuzhong, who met with King James II in 1687 and had the honour of having his full-length portrait painted, which, because it was very expensive, was also prestigious. King George IV was also enamoured with China and sent a delegation in 1793 to open up trade with the country. George IV was the first Royal Grand Master of the Grand Lodge of England from 1790 to 1813, though at the time he was the Prince of Wales. The boom in Chinese things ended with the Opium Wars in 1839, when China stopped trading with Europe. The correspondences with the ritual of the first degree are detailed in this book, Freemasonry, Initiation by Light, and an explanation of the mystical transformation of the 3rd degree is detailed in Freemasonry, Royal Arch. This book helps explain some of the incongruities in the ritual. For example, why there is no warden in the north, why Hiram has to escape at the east side of the temple when he is on the other side in the west, and probably being pursued. And what exactly is the lion's paw of the tribe of Judah? Lastly, why would 3 gentlemen include a Chinese ritual in Freemasonry? First, as I mentioned, Chinese things were in vogue at the time. Secondly, the noted essayist Jonathan Swift wrote that he believed that there was a Chinese connection to the degrees. From 1730 to about 1780, other side degrees were invented by operative Masons, titled the Scots Master, the Irish Master, the Senior Architect, and the Ilu of 15, which all included Chinese words. The words were either directions, such as kneel or stand up, but one was a password, Xin Chu, the place of the heart. An expose written in 1760 called 3 Distinct Knocks is even dedicated to the Irish Masters. After the Duke of Wharton was expelled from Freemasonry, he made his own organization in an attempt to either discredit Freemasonry or even to try to bring it down. His organization is now known as the Gormegons, but the correct name is the Chinese Order of the Gormegons, and the 4 senior members were said to be Chinese mandarins or Chinese philosophers. These were illustrated in William Hogarth's etching of 1724. Finally, at the end of the 19th century, British diplomats based in China also believed that China was the origin of Freemasonry, but they couldn't connect the two. I hope that if you have a chance to read Freemasonry Initiation by Light or Freemasonry Royal Arch, you will be similarly convinced of the Chinese connection as I was in 2016. I believe that having a Chinese theme, even though you may not believe it just by reading the modern ritual, this made it both exotic and fashionable for the people in the 1700s, and as speculative masonry gave the gentry the opportunity to meet aristocracy in an informal situation, it was a winning combination. This mystique is what has enabled Freemasonry to survive 300 years, as it has what the Chinese called Tianming. Thank you.